It just... so tired of him talking like this.
Core values, which was we believed in the family and we believed in our faith. So
he said that it was on the basis of abandonment. I did not choose that word.
Understand why you're not like just talking to the kids as much as you can. Like I just don't know why you're not reaching out to them more.
This has been going on.
If I'd have been there and given them the reasons we broke up, they might not have given her the release. She did her stuff. I didn't abandon her. We got the release on that premise, and that's what we needed.
You won't believe the tea we're spilling today. From secret breakups to shocking lies, this is unreal tea. Hit subscribe before the drama starts. Welcome everyone. What if all you thought about family, loving, loyalty, trust, was mere smoke? And mirrors? What if the individual you assumed was keeping it together was really the one destroying it from within? Welcome to the disintegration of the Brown clan, where secrets aren't spoken in hushed tones, they're broadcasted on national television. And in this tangled web of relationships, one woman's web of contradictions and half-truths may be more than just emotional, it might be strategic. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the chaos behind the curtain. From Robyn's silent confessions to Kody's strategic silence, this isn't just a story about polygamy. It's control, it's lies, and what you do when the lies you tell to shield your family end up killing it. Buckle up. Robyn claimed she never told her children about Christine's departure? Except, she did. And not once. The timeline is jumbled. The feelings are real. And the secrets? They're larger than anyone anticipated. This is the narrative they wouldn't want you to construct, the one hidden between meticulously cut together scenes and tearful confessions. But we are not here for show. We're here for reality. The lie unfolds, and I haven't told my kids a thing. It's going to be a fun surprise. Robyn's tone was dripping with fake innocence. But audience members already knew, she had informed her kids. The inconsistency came quickly, 2 weeks later at Isabel's birthday and graduation party. There, Robyn nonchalantly revealed to everyone her children, even young Sol and Ari, had been informed of Christine leaving. But if they knew, why didn't truly? The kids had been playing together for hours. Ari, notorious for being talkative, didn't spill the news once? Either Ari had surprisingly come on monk-like self-control or the reality is, truly understood way. Beforehand she was officially informed. The pieces don't fit. The trampoline laughter, the sly glances, the delicate silence, it all suggests a methodically constructed narrative instead of a natural discovery. When Christine finally makes up her mind to inform truly, Kody becomes interested in visitation. But not to converse. No, just for her to be over, which she's never done. It's a deflection. A strategy. As though dodging the unpleasant reality will preserve the fantasy. Then, when Christine discusses moving with McKelty, truly eavesdrops, and the disguise falls apart. Truth through contradiction. Robyn subsequently maintains she said nothing to her children. An outright contradiction of what she admitted to saying previously. But it's not the first time she's lied on TV. Actually, Robyn boasts that she's a great liar. Flashback to Season 4, Episode 6. Robyn grins as she explains a dishonest scheme regarding Kody's Valentine's Day gift. She freely admits that she'll lie and say she scratched his car to get him to fall into a surprise. When Meri asks her, "Are you good at lying?" Robyn blinks not. "Oh yes, definitely." No flinch. No shame. Just pride in the performance. Christine and Janelle called her out on it from the start. Even the older children weren't deceived. Her deceptions weren't subtle. They were glaring red flags wrapped in a smile. In the meantime, Kody and Meri kept falling for them. The child as a shield. Meri did ask to bring Solomon along on a trip to Utah. Her motivation? To make the trip less uncomfortable. Robyn did not agree, citing Solomon's emotional bond. She was pregnant and wanted to avoid stress. A reasonable justification on the surface, but Meri felt it was another rejection. Another gatekeeping exercise. And when Robyn subsequently proposed Brianna take her place, it only added to the hurt. The aftermath was harsh. Meri walked off. Doors slammed shut. Words hung in the air. Robyn's denial was parenting-based, sure. But it also reinforced a pattern of separating her children from the extended family. The kitchen wars. I've got two wives who think that sharing a kitchen can be abusive. Kody joked once. But there was substance behind the joke. The shared kitchen was a war zone. Meri's fixation on cleanliness conflicted with Janelle's laissez-faire attitude. Christine liked her own way. Rumbles of altercations over whether to put oranges or detergent were not rumors. They were signs of an underlying crack. Even grown-up kids remembered the tension. Janelle discounted mess. Meri worried over microwaves. Christine wouldn't even use toasters. And in the middle, Kody went mushy. Eventually, the public narrative changed. Meri became the bad guy. Christine and Janelle, the survivors. But within those walls, everyone was guilty. Everyone hurt. Robyn's performance after the ATV accident, Robyn begged Kody, go talk to her. She still held on to the hope that Janelle and Meri could be involved in the family land plans. But the relationships were broken. The bonds had loosened. And Robyn's wishful thinking wasn't hope, it was control. She dissuaded Meri from returning to school. Instructed her to be on call for the kids. But did she ever make room in her life for Meri's kids? Did she mark their victories? Did she give sisterhood, or only sermons? Robyn captures heartbreak accurately. She's practiced, managed. Her words are measured. Her sadness is stage managed. And her account of things always puts herself at the center. Meri's decades of waiting. Meri sacrificed her legal marriage for Robyn's sake. And what did she receive in return? Decades of neglect, emotional abandonment, manipulative ultimatums. Kody presented her with a list of things she had to correct before he would begin rebuilding their relationship. A list, as if love was a transaction. Meri waited for more than a decade. No intimacy. No honesty. Just spiritual blackmail disguised in eternal family jargon. She witnessed her wedding band dissolve, literally and figuratively, when Kody wed Robyn. Her heartache was apparent. Her voice trembled with wistfulness. And yet she remained. Why? From faith. From guilt. From fear. The financial shadows. When Robyn came into the family, she did not bring only children, she brought mortgage payments. Was it revealed? Perhaps to a degree. But not entirely. Kody said he took responsibility for his own history of financial problems. But his credit reports spoke volumes. Multiple surnames. Entwined histories. Money troubles with no beginning or end. Janelle shifted uncomfortably. Meri winced. Christine wondered. But Kody? He believed without question. Or at least pretended to. Even if the wives were aware, what could they do? Kody had already made up his mind. He'd already fallen for the act. And the price wasn't only financial, it was emotional, familial, and irreversible. Robyn didn't enter a dysfunctional family. She destroyed it. Her deceptions weren't innocent. Her manipulations weren't insidious. From alienating her children to rewriting history, Robyn did what she could to redefine what family looked like in the Brown home, and not for the best. Kody facilitated it. Meri suffered it. Christine fled it. Janelle fought it. And now, we're left watching the ashes of a dream once sold as salvation. A dream now shattered. A family now scattered. But here's the real twist, this wasn't just reality TV. This was real life. Real people. Real damage. And no amount of tearful confessionals can undo what's already been done. The mess behind the marriage. Robyn entered the Brown family with an emotional blueprint and a financial ledger. Though TLC showed glimpses of her past, the real story lies buried in credit reports and custody filings. Her divorce was framed as a clean break, but behind it lay obligations that bled into her new life. When Kody married Robyn, he didn't merely sign up for romance, he signed on for co-signing. From doctor bills to child care to backed-up responsibilities. It's apparent that Robyn's joining the family wasn't cheap. Christine once alluded to it in a confessional. Some of us work 2 jobs, some of us raise a dozen kids. And then, there's Robyn. It's a wry comment, but a painful one. The labor was never divided equally. And with the passage of time, Robyn's past became a burden to all of them. One, Kody demanded all the family's share. The legal wife advantage. Kody's legal marriage to Robyn wasn't symbolic. It irreversibly changed the balance of power. Money decisions, control of custody, and control of medicine, everything now defaulted to Robyn. She was the gatekeeper. Meri's split from Kody, veiled in family's best interests rhetoric, was really a rearrangement of legal authority. It enabled Robyn to stake a claim on being the official spouse on paper, before the court, and ultimately in family matters. The ripple effect? When it came down to it, Robyn had veto power. And she exercised it. Recall when Janelle attempted to acquire land rights on Coyote Pass? Or when Christine fought for fair housing in Flagstaff? All those choices, now joint, suddenly filtered through Robyn's prism. Her voice wasn't boisterous. It was hushed, procedural, and absolute. The children's collateral. Robyn's kids became shields, emotional walls she brandished in battle. Whether it was vetoing Solomon's journey with Meri or demanding Ari require a stable home life amidst family bedlam, her children's needs were always paramount. But it cost them connection with the rest of the family. Other children, such as Gwendolyn, Logan, and Gabriel, frequently complained of feeling left out or ignored. Their milestones were not celebrated in the same manner. Their struggles were not broadcast with the same seriousness. And gradually, the family fragmented, not merely across marriages, but across generations. The Brown children started developing their own opinions. Some became estranged. Others, such as Maddie and Paydon, chimed in on social media, validating what everyone suspected: the family harmony had long been gone. Meri's departure wasn't with fireworks. No grand speech. No tears confrontation. A quiet acknowledgement of what was inevitable. After years of emotional deprivation, she finally realized the truth: Kody wasn't returning. What made her departure all the more tragic was how anticipated it was. The family had already moved on. Robyn had already taken on the role of matriarch. Christine had fled. Janelle had tuned out. And Meri? She was history. But her last gesture was one of strength. Quitting wasn't defeat, it was freedom. For the first time in decades, Meri made a choice for herself. Cody's decline wasn't abrupt. It was gradual, calculated, and frequently camouflaged by bravado. He professed to be the leader, but he governed in disarray. His mood swings, favoritism, and continuous explanations exhausted every relationship he'd ever treasured. His outbursts were more erratic. His need for control more desperate. He blamed everyone: Christine for going, Janelle for fighting back, Meri for clinging too long, and even his older kids for failing to fall into line with his definition of family harmony. But the common thread was always him. The legacy they leave Sister Wives was never solely about plural marriage. It was about power. About devotion. About identity. And in time, it became agonizingly apparent that the experiment had failed, not because polygamy is fatefully doomed to fail, but because this particular dynamic was irreparably broken from the inside out. Robyn's arrival, Kody's dictation, the wives' passive rebellion, it all created a tempest that no session of family therapy could repair. The show will proceed. The spin-offs will follow. But that family we were introduced to in season 1 is gone. All that is left are shards, plots half spoken, scars half removed. But to the audience members who saw it all happen, the reality remains: Robyn didn't merely become a part of the Browns. She redefined them. And things were never the same. As Kody's emotional whirlwind raged between him and his broken family, the tension behind closed doors eventually became something much darker, something unerasable. Janelle, alone in her tiny Flagstaff apartment, stood at the window gazing blankly as snowfall quietly draped the ground in white stillness. Her heart was a war zone of regrets and open-ended sentences. She held a coffee mug, but it had been cold for hours, just like the family she once knew. Her phone rang. Christine. Put the news on, Christine's voice crackled over the line. Janelle's stomach plummeted. Within moments, the screen lit up with flashing headlines: Brown family financial probe underway, Coyote Pass records subpoenaed. Robyn, watching the same coverage from her lavish living room, turned pale. Her perfect world, built on secrets and favoritism, was beginning to shake beneath her feet. Kody, pacing behind her, looked like a man unraveling. The money trails, the LLCs, the quiet land deals, everything they thought was hidden, was now under federal scrutiny. As the episode played out on TV, Meri sat in a cozy Airbnb in Utah, having finally let go. She watched the coverage not with fear, but with a strange sense of vindication. "I knew it would come to this," she whispered. She had walked away bruised, but not broken. In contrast, Kody looked haunted. His world had collapsed faster than he could process. The IRS probe meant one thing: secrets would be exposed. Who signed the land papers? Who funneled the money? Who benefited most from Janelle's investments? Meanwhile, Christine, always the firestarter, took to social media, posting a cryptic message: "Truth always surfaces, even in frozen ground." The internet exploded. Fans speculated, analyzed, and reposted. The Sister Wives world wasn't just drama, it had become a true crime thriller. A former TLC producer anonymously revealed that unreleased footage showed arguments over misused joint finances, unapproved expenditures, and a secret vault of documents hidden in Robyn's basement safe. That was the final straw. Detectives showed up at Robyn's home with a warrant. The scene was chaotic. Robyn pleaded, crying as Dayton was escorted to a separate room. Aurora watched, frozen, clutching Solomon's hand. Kody raged, shouting about betrayal and lies, blaming Christine and Meri for conspiring. But the officers didn't care about family politics. They came for facts. Meanwhile, Janelle met with a private attorney. For the first time, she wasn't asking questions, she was giving answers. Her records, her bank statements, her emails, everything she had, she turned over. "Let the truth come out," she told the lawyer, her voice calm and steady. Over the following weeks, the Brown family name became a trending headline. Every tabloid, every talk show, every podcast dissected the drama. Fans who once cheered for love and unity now debated ethics, legality, and betrayal. In a heart-wrenching moment, Robyn Brown appeared in a short video online. We were raised to believe we were building something sacred. But maybe we were just props in someone else's show. His voice broke, and the internet felt it. Robyn's face appeared on every screen, crying, denying, defending. But no amount of tears could undo what was unraveling. Janelle stood strong. Christine stood tall. Meri stood free. And Kody? Kody stood alone. But just as the world thought it had seen the worst, another twist emerged. A leaked video from a family Zoom call recorded weeks before the investigation broke. In it, Kody admitted, "I shifted funds. It was for the family. For Robyn and the kids. I didn't think it would come back to bite me." That clip went viral. It was damning. It was defining. Suddenly, everything clicked. Janelle's missing investments. Christine's quiet warnings. Meri's cryptic comments. Robyn's luxurious lifestyle. The Sister Wives saga had gone from heartbreak to high-stakes scandal. And in the middle of it all, the viewers were no longer passive observers, they were jurors, detectives, and survivors. This was no longer just reality TV, this was a reckoning. As the Arizona sun fell below the horizon, stretching out its long golden shadows across the Coyote Pass property, a weighty stillness descended on the land that previously represented unity but now wore the marks of division. Christine stood on the porch of her new Utah home, gazing out at the mountains in the distance. Her phone vibrated with a surprise message. It was from Gwendolyn. "Mom, Robyn is saying things again. She's trying to rewrite everything." Christine's heart sank. Robyn's new interviews had reopened the old wounds, portraying herself as the victimized innocent once again. The sobs, the trembling voice, the histrionic pauses, it all seemed all too familiar. But this time, Christine would not stand for it. She phoned Janelle and said, "We have to talk. It's happening all over again. She's rewriting history like she does. But we're not going to be silent anymore." Janelle didn't even hesitate. "Let's do it." The camera cuts to Robyn, sitting on her pristine white couch, clutching a pillow like a lifeline. "I never asked for any of this," she whispers, voice breaking. "I just wanted peace. A family." Behind her, Dayton hovers awkwardly, uncertain whether to comfort her or leave the room. The air is tense, and her daughters stiffly stand at the border of the frame. In the meanwhile, Kody, now grayer, more exhausted, his bravado fading, occupies a darkened room. They keep blaming Robyn. But the truth? I was done. Long before the world knew it. He glares into the camera. "This is what they did to me. They left me." But Christine's version is different. "We didn't leave Kody. We left behind a man who had already abandoned us emotionally. We merely finally left physically." Janelle meets up with her in a quiet room in Salt Lake City. "We were spiritually starved," she shakes but firmly says. "You can't keep coming back for somebody who doesn't come back for you." Then, at that time, a leaked message to the media, a letter Meri had written to Kody years ago, full of regret and yearning. The media twists it into a headline about Meri wanting back in. But Meri is fast on Instagram Live, fighting back tears. "No. That letter was years ago. I don't want him back. I want peace. And I want the world to stop using my pain for headlines." Robyn, meanwhile, back in Flagstaff, makes a family dinner, clinging to visions of perfect wifedom. But Aurora slips away quietly. In her room, she sobs, mouthing, "Why does it all feel so fake now?" Kody, who used to be at the center of it all, is now alone more and more. A lone father to Robyn's children, cut off from the others. Looking at a photo of the entire family from 10 years ago, he grunts, "I thought I was doing what was right. I really did." But for Janelle, Christine, and even Meri, their new beginnings are starting to flower. Christine starts a podcast with Janelle. They title it Rewriting Reality. Their debut episode? Robyn Behind the Tears, Robyn's True Role. And the fans can't wait. The podcast becomes a hit. The comments pour in. "We knew all along Christine was the true backbone. Team Janelle for life." But not everyone is in agreement. Robyn secretly listens to each show. Each sentence burns like glass. And one day she reaches for her phone and calls Meri. "We were meant to stand together," Robyn tells her. Meri answers curtly. "You only wanted us together when you could dictate the narrative. I'm finished playing pretend." The call goes dead. And the screen goes black. As the dust of shattered promises settled over the fractured family, the air grew chillier in Flagstaff, not from the desert breeze, but from the silence that echoed between former wives who called each other sister. Christine stood on her back porch, arms folded tightly around herself, watching snowflakes melt as they hit the wooden rails. Laughter inside her house came from Truly and David, but outside, her face remained still. Distant. She had seen something. That morning. Something she hadn't anticipated. A text. Not from Robyn. Not from Meri. But from Aurora. He won't stop crying, the message said. He's barricaded himself in the room once more. Mom tells me he's blaming himself, but I don't believe her. Christine grasped the phone tightly. The message was about Kody. Robyn always protected him, made him inaccessible, a victimized innocent in his own tragedy. But now, his own stepdaughter was spilling the truth incrementally, like a crack in a frozen lake. Meanwhile, behind costly walls at Robyn's home, quietly, chaos was unfolding. Kody's beard was grayer than blonde these days, and his eyes, which had once burned with passion, had dimmed into something restless and empty. He hadn't left the house in days. He hadn't made a new confession for TLC in weeks. When the crew arrived, he feigned illness. But the cameras rolled on without him. They overheard Robyn talking in hushed tones behind the closed doors. Overheard Dayton and Aurora pacing back and forth. Heard the muffled sobs that ran through the halls. And then, Meri arrived. She was a surprise Robyn hadn't asked her, and Kody hadn't spoken to her since she announced, loudly, her leaving of the family. But Meri appeared anyway, with only a blanket in her arms, folded, and her heart pounding like drums. Robyn opened the door, mascara already smudged. "Why are you here, Meri?" "To finish it." Meri entered, spread the blanket across the table, and opened it. Packed inside, scores of printed screenshots, texts, timestamps, call records, all proof of what she thought was Robyn's masterminding of the great falling apart. Kody listened to the shouting upstairs. His legs wouldn't propel him quickly enough. Robyn was on the ground, crying hysterically when he entered the room. Meri's arms were folded. The blanket was vacant. The secrets were spilled. "How could you do this to us?" Meri spat. "You made us feel like we were crazy. Gaslighted us. Isolated him. Turned him against everyone except you." Robyn's response was a shattered whisper. "Because he was coming apart. And I thought I could hold him together." Kody gazed at them both. For the first time, his voice didn't flare. He didn't defend. He didn't go on a rampage. He just turned and walked out of the room. He went out into the cold, barefoot, heedless of the calling behind. That very moment, Christine's phone vibrated again. A video message. It was Robyn. Her voice shook. Her mascara was new. He went walking in the snow. Meri she knows everything. I don't know what to do. Christine gazed at the screen. Then picked up her camera. Recorded. And uttered a single word, finally. The snowstorm that covered Flagstaff that night was not only meteorological, it was emotional, smothering, symbolic. Cody Brown, the former conductor of Plural Harmony, was now simply a lone figure disappearing into the white emptiness, barefoot and dazed. No cameras trailed behind him this time. No wives ran after him. Not even Robyn. Within her house, Robyn stood motionless in the center of the room, gripping the side of the kitchen island as if it were the sole anchor left to her existence. Her phone rang steadily, missed calls, anxious texts from producers, one quiet ping from Dayton just asking, "Where is he?" She didn't respond to any of them. Meanwhile, Meri sat rigidly in her vehicle outside Robyn's home. Her hands shook against the steering wheel, not out of fear, but out of something deeper. Release. Vindication. She gazed down the deserted road where Kody had vanished into the storm and breathed, "You finally saw it, didn't you?" Back in Christine's home, the atmosphere was no longer one of gravity, it was determination. She hadn't anticipated she would get a surge of adrenaline from Robyn's video, but she did. It was the coup de grace, the last thread ripped from a knotted web of lies. She grabbed her phone and redialed a number she hadn't used in more than a year. "Janelle?" A pause. A breath. Then, "Christine? It's happening." Janelle stood in her own small Flagstaff rental, in her pajamas, clutching a tea grown cold. She didn't ask what Christine said. She already knew. She'd felt the seismic shift the moment she woke up to a missed call from Aurora. She'd seen the pattern. Kody withdrawing. Robyn spiraling. The tower had finally collapsed. "Come over," Janelle said quietly. "We need to decide what we're going to do." Christine didn't hesitate. An hour passed, and the two women were in Janelle's living room, wrapped in sweaters, surrounded by piles of court documents, property documents, and one unsealed envelope with Robyn's writing on it, something from months past, perhaps a peace offering, perhaps another game. Christine indicated the paperwork. "We divide everything up. Even Coyote Pass. We do it now, no more waiting." Janelle agreed. "But what about Meri?" Christine paused. "She's on her own path. She'll either come with us or keep spinning around the drain with Robyn." "Do we inform TLC?" Christine stared down at the radiant phone on the coffee table, the production team had been eerily silent of late, as if holding their breath and waiting for the storm to pass so they could swoop in, bearing new contracts and new drama. But this time, Christine did not want to play along. "We share our story. Not theirs," she insisted. Meanwhile, miles away in the snow that was falling, Kody stood before a neglected building, the old TLC set where the family had filmed joyful interviews years before. Dark, closed for the season, its looming silhouette drew him in. He sat on the snowy steps, red-eyed, chattering teeth, muttering words to himself alone. "I did everything for them. Everything. Why wasn't it enough?" No one was there to reply. But someone watched. From afar, in a parked SUV, Robyn Brown sat in the driver's seat, Dayton riding shotgun. They had been following Cody's whereabouts since Aurora called them, fearful he would harm himself. Logan let out a sigh, his fingers tightening on the wheel. "He seems so little now," Dayton whispered. "He was always," Logan said, not harshly. "We just didn't notice before." At Robyn's house, she finally came to sit down. Her phone continued to buzz, but she let it hit the floor. Rather, she opened her laptop and began typing. A letter, not to the world, not to TLC, but to her children. An apology. An explanation. A goodbye of sorts. "I tried to keep him," she wrote, "but he was already gone." And downtown, as Christine and Janelle clinked their mugs together, tea steaming, eyes fixed, they didn't yet realize that the tale was far from finished. That Meri was on the verge of doing something no one saw coming. She was going public. With all of it. The news spread faster than they could keep it under wraps. Social media exploded with rumors, leaked video from the crew's hidden microphones, and anonymous tweets that eerily parroted what Christine, Meri, and even Aurora had alluded to. "He walked into the snow" became the haunting catchphrase repeated throughout fan sites, TikTok comments, and YouTube analyses. But to the women who survived the storm, it was not only drama, it was emancipation. In her small Utah home, Janelle sat in stunned silence in her small kitchen, clicking through headlines she never imagined she would read. Cody Brown walks out after Meri confronts Robyn, Robyn's empire crumbles, Christine breaks silence. With one word. Every click eroded the fantasy that they had all once worked so desperately to defend. The feedback was split, some angry, some congratulatory, but what stung the most were the questions. Why did no one stop it earlier? Did they not notice what was going on? Janelle turned off her phone and grasped her journal. The final entry had been a letter to Garrison, written days following his burial. She never printed it, never shared it. But she went back to it now. Her signature had been hasty, her sorrow fresh. "You were the boldest among us, Garrison. You observed what others were too afraid to say. You refused when others whispered agreement. You broke the silence and were only beginning to learn how to do the same." Outside, it started to snow. A gentle, quiet reminder that life, even at its most icy, still keeps moving forward. While Meri was alone in her hotel room, the confrontation had exhausted her, but for the first time in years, she didn't see her reflection in the mirror as a question mark. She saw it as an answer. She held a small notebook, years of notes, red flags ignored, and moments that at one point felt like gut instincts now solidified by screenshots and timestamps. A knock on her door. She opened it, thinking it would be housekeeping. But it was Christine. The two women gazed at one another for a long, wordless moment. Then Christine waved her phone. The screen displayed the frozen video of Robyn's crying message. "I think it's time," Christine said. "For what?" Meri asked. "To tell the whole story. On our terms." Side by side, they sat on the bedside. They didn't practice. They didn't censor. Christine pushed record, and they started. "This is not a TLC tell-all. This is a truth call for all women who've ever been asked to be quiet. For all wives who believed they were going crazy. For all mothers who stayed for the kids and forgot themselves along the way. For the ones still held." The video took more than an hour. It was raw, emotional, sometimes tearful, but most of all, it was truthful. And within a day, it had more than 2 million views. While the internet spun, Robyn stayed in the dark. The electricity hadn't cut out, but the quiet in her house made it seem like it had. Dayton hadn't answered her in 2 days. Aurora wouldn't come out of her room. And Kody still hadn't returned. She watched Christine and Meri's video alone, eyes bloodshot, lips trembling. There was no rebuttal. Not yet. Only a growing realization that her carefully crafted world had finally cracked beyond repair. The last message on her phone was from TLC's producer. "We need a response. Filming resumes tomorrow. Be ready." But she wasn't. Not this time. This family's drama is far from over, so smash like if you're #TeamWives, subscribe for the next explosive update, and drop a comment below. Who do you think will win? Stay shady, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next scandal. Kiss Mark. Behind TLC Sister Wives out.